Good morning, everybody. In this section, I'll provide an overview of the RAM's launch and performance to date. So we'll get started on the next slide. So after months of parameter discussions, solidity development, and audits and governance discussions, NMPIP 209 went up for vote on the 15th of November. Voting was open for 3 days, and members voted with more than 1.18 million NXM to unanimously approve NMPIP 209. So a few days later, the RAM was launched on Tuesday, the 21st of November. When the RAM launched, it replaced the bonding curve. It also removed the MCR floor, which also eliminated the MCR lock that was preventing members from redeeming their NXM for ETH in the first place. So for those of you who aren't familiar with how the RAM works or what the RAM is, the RAM is made up of two virtual one-sided Uniswap V2 pools, and those pools determine the price at which the mutual is willing to buy and sell NXM in value accretive ranges for the mutual. This is also complemented by a price ratchet that enables price discovery. The below pool and above pool are the two pools present in the system. These pools contain a defined amount of ETH liquidity paired with virtual NXM. This creates two internal pools which have the same ETH liquidity. The NXM reserves in each pool are represented by a virtual NXM balance. The ETH and NXM balances change over time as NXM is sold and purchased. You can learn more about the RAM and the updated token model in the Nexus Mutual documentation. I'll move on to the next slide. But now that the RAM is live, members can redeem NXM for ETH right in the Nexus Mutual user interface under the NXM section. So on that page, you can redeem your NXM for ETH. There's also an option to unwrap any WNXM to NXM. While we endeavor to provide a safe and user-friendly user interface for the benefit of members, it is essential to point out and emphasize that the underlying smart contract governing WNXM is not associated with NXM and Nexus Mutual. This was a smart contract that was developed by a third party and is entirely separate from Nexus Mutual. Just be sure to do some due diligence and use caution. There's a disclaimer on that page that has a little bit more information that you can check out as well. But you can learn more about the RAM security and how members can redeem NXM for ETH in the blog post on our website, which you can find in the banner on the website and in the banner in the UI. So I will move on to the next slide. Before I jump into an overview of the RAM's performance, I wanted to cover what the goals of the Tokenomics revamp project are, as set out in the Ratcheting AMM white paper. So now that the RAM is launched, the goal of the system is to bring the price of NXM used by the system and the open market price together again, allow members who wish to exit to do so directly from the protocol at a reasonable price, allow the protocol to capture capital when members wish to provide it, and create positive value for long-term aligned members. With that in mind, let's go over the RAM's performance to date. So the RAM launched 2 weeks ago, and members had been redeeming since the ratchet first moved the price close to book value on Wednesday, the 22nd of November. To date, 869,223 NXM have been redeemed for 17,377 ETH, which is roughly 39.5% of the initial budget allocated for the initial exit period. The initial exit period will be active until the remaining ETH in the initial budget is exhausted, and there's still another 26,706 ETH left in the initial budget, which is the remaining 60.5%. So if you're looking for some updates on the RAM's performance, there are two really great Dune dashboards that people can check out to stay up to date. There is the Nexus Mutual Ratcheting AMM dashboard, which was created by the R&D team, and the NXM dashboard that was created by Richard Chen. So there's been discussion on the forum as well about potentially updating some of the RAM's parameters. If you haven't already reviewed that post, you can find it on the Nexus Mutual Governance Forum. But for the most part, that concludes my review of the RAM, the launch and the performance. I'm happy to take any questions if anybody has any before we move on. If there are no questions, then I will hand things off to Hugh to review the cover read proposal on the governance forum. Hugh?